Wow, thank you. So one morning before UUCA, as usual, my family was running late. Instead of getting ready, my children were having a bitter and ugly property dispute. There were lots of unkind words, the kind that can only come from someone who knows what will really hurt. I decreed that since they couldn't be nice about it, no one could have it. Seeing how the kids reacted to that, their father took inspiration from Solomon and passed judgment that the gloating child would get nothing and the tearful child could keep it. And what was the treasure that sparked all of this dissension? The cardboard flap that is ripped out when you open a box of tissues. This was the cause of the fighting and the decrees and the sobbing and now the sulking. I didn't want to be late, and frankly, I liked my initial decision to recycle the cardboard flap. But I wanted to de-escalate things, so I calmly explained to my 6-year-old child that she could have it for now, but that before the end of the day, the cardboard would need to go into the recycling bin. But why? Because it's garbage, and I don't want our house to be messy and full of garbage. But I want to make it into a computer, and here she folded it along the crease like a laptop. I'm reusing it to make something. Honey, I know that sounds like fun, and I love that you want to make something creative with it, but we don't have time right now, and you need to get ready so we can go, and I'm worried that it will just wind up being garbage and not actually a computer. I was feeling kind of good right now about how calm and how patient I was being. And then my daughter said to me, "It makes me feel bad when you call something I like garbage." It makes me feel bad when you call something I like garbage. Several speakers in this series on the treasures of our lives have touched on the sometimes complicated relationship between treasure and hoarding. My children would gladly set themselves up like a dragon in her lair on a mountain of treasure to hoard. And they have an expansive definition of what counts as treasure. One has her Bob, her book of books, which is a list of the books that she reads. I look at that Bob and I see her curiosity and her imagination, her thirst for both knowledge and escape. I also see a reflection of my own childhood self, lost in books. It's easy for me to treasure that Bob. One has a cup full of feathers, and she can name every bird that they came from. I look at those feathers, and I see how observant she is and how determined as she learns the names of the birds. I didn't learn to name birds until I was an adult, and I love that her world is bigger than mine was. It's easy for me to treasure those feathers. They have a collection of shopkins, small plastic objects whose sole purpose seems to be for children to collect. I can't say that I like the shopkins, but I get the appeal of naming and sorting and organizing. It's easy for me to recognize those shopkins as treasure. But what about the Kleenex boxes? What about the magazine subscription cards, the little plastic hang tags that connect new pairs of socks, the empty floss containers? What about the many small plastic smoothie bottles that flew on an airplane from Maryland back to Georgia? I would ask what their grandmother was thinking, but I already know. It makes them happy, and it doesn't hurt anything. Who cares? When they arrived home and pulled the bottles out of their suitcases, they confidently assured us that the bottles were clean, run through the dishwasher even, and they had worked out a fair distribution of the loot. No spoiled milk, no arguing, all parental objections preempted. But those empty smoothie bottles still look like garbage to me. I'm not sure how to balance my children's desire to collect with my desire not to have my home full of garbage. And when I originally wrote that sentence, it said hoard, not collect. It was only when I was practicing and read it aloud that I heard the pejorative in hoard and changed it to collect. And there's still that word garbage. It makes me feel bad when you call something I like garbage. If any of you more experienced or wiser people have advice for me on this one, please grab me in the social hall or on the playground. It's easy to lift up and celebrate the treasures that reflect back who we are or who we want to be, or that we at least recognize. It's not so easy to figure out what to do about the treasures that look like garbage. And to be clear, right now, I'm talking about literal garbage, not garbage as a metaphor for my children's values and decisions. But I know that one day I may need to celebrate some treasure that I can't put in a recycling bin, but that I could still mistake for garbage. At this age, with our very literal treasures, I'm not aiming for celebration, but I am aiming for acceptance within limits. The deal I've offered is that I'll throw away or recycle anything on the floor that looks like garbage to me. But if it's put away, it's not garbage, and I won't call it garbage. This is a work in progress. We'll see how it goes.